Get ready to live fearlessly free with Heather Bunch.
Have you ever looked around and realized you are living in what you once prayed for, but somehow you still feel like something's missing? Do you ever feel restless in a season that's supposed to feel like, dude, I've arrived? Like, maybe there's more to your dream than what you can see right now. Or maybe you are getting new ideas and inspiration, but you can't tell if, is this God or is this just shiny object syndrome trying to keep me off track again? Anyone besides me run into that one? Well, what if I told you you are not off track, my friend? Father is still unfolding your dream. Welcome to Live Fearlessly Free podcast. I'm your courageous coach, Heather Bunch, and I am here to help you, Christian women solopreneurs, go from feeling stuck, not enough, and fearful to taking focused, confident, and courageous action. We are growing ourselves, my friend, so we can be the kind of person that can carry the dream. And that is what we are doing. We are wrapping up our series on the dreamer's journey, when we're becoming the women who can carry the dream that God has given us, and we can carry it well. And today we are talking about what it looks like to actually walk in the dream that God has given you. You've said yes, you've stepped out, and you are living what you once prayed for. Isn't that cool? I love that. But maybe you sense that God's inviting you deeper, because the dream isn't the destination. It is preparation for greater impact, my friend. So if you've ever wondered what's coming up next, after obedience, after breakthrough, after the yes, this episode, it's got your name on it. And if you have reached a season that you once prayed for, but now you're wondering, Father, what's next? This conversation is going to bring you some clarity. And if you're ready to see what God's done in your life and to see it start flowing through you, this episode is going to help you walk in confidence in that, my friend. Now, I did not grow up with dreams being a big thing for me. Some people, man, they are born dreamers. That was not me. And so it took me a long time to get to the point where I even had a dream. It was when I was a life coach. And what I realized, though, as I started walking in this, my dream wasn't static. It wasn't this, all right, become a life coach. Boom, I walk into my dream and I got it. It's done. No, as I started walking in that, God started unfolding some other things in me. God started teaching me some things, because once I started stepping out, that's when fear totally broke loose in my life, and I started fainting. I fainted before my first networking event. I fainted in a group of people that was at a conference. It was at a person's house. It was bad, people. I fainted every month or two for more than a year. And when you have that kind of fear, you start playing small again. And so I sat there in this moment going, okay, I can let go of the dream, or I can learn how to overcome this. And so through that, God started teaching me how to learn how to do things afraid and overcome fear. And that is what God used to help me become the courageous coach. Not because I was born courageous, but because I've learned how to overcome fear out of my own experience. And what I love about what God does with our dreams is they are not static. They are not a single destination. I know even now there's more for me to do. I've been helping people with creating coaching curriculum. And you know what? I wrote a book, and then somehow I started getting book coaching clients. God started unfolding new things with that. He helped me start the Courageous Club, because I started with one-on-one clients. He's like, I want you to go into this path because I see that people need community and they need a group, not just lessons to get you to this certain point. But I never would have gotten there had I not started somewhere, had I not started walking in that dream, and as I did, God started unfolding things to me. And God is going to do the same for you. Now, as we've been walking together through the dreamer's journey, God has been showing us at every stage of the dream, how can we carry the dream well? We started with the call of the dream. When God first plants that dream in our heart and that feel of, you know what, there is something bigger or greater for me. That moment when I felt the call to be a life coach. And then we learned sometimes the dreams comes with resistance, detours, waiting, challenges. And yeah, I ran into that when I started fainting and I hit detours and challenges. But what's so cool is God takes us to the next step. And we discover that we don't walk out this dream alone. God uses people to refine us, to challenge us, to cheer us on. And that is what every dream needs to succeed. And I learned that through my group, my audacious faith women, where when I fainted at a members retreat there, that was that line in the sand for me when I had people come and cheer me on and love on me and help me grow. Now, here we are. Part of the journey where the dream starts to come alive. That's where we're at. We are living in it. We are walking it out. We are realizing, you know what? This is just the beginning. Because the truth is, God's dreams don't have an end point. It is not about the destination. The dreams are designed to keep unfolding, layer by layer. They shape us, they stretch us, they expand our impact. So if you are wondering, what does it look like to walk in a dream that keeps growing with you? That's what we're going to be talking about. So when we start walking out this dream, it is easy to keep our eyes on what is ahead. Like, I got the dream, I got the destination, that is where I'm going. But before God can take us deeper into that, do you know that He often is inviting us to pause, to look back at how far we come? And that leads me to our first point, my friend. And that is, we need to celebrate what God has done. So our gratitude grounds you for what's next. Gratitude isn't just a response to success. It is literally the foundation for our growth. You know, we have been in a long journey. We're walking out our dreams every day. We're doing the things. We're getting up. We're sending the emails. We're creating the funnels. We're coaching the people. We're whatever it is that you do in your entrepreneurial journey. And it is so easy to keep looking at how far we still have to go instead of how far we've actually come already. Now, that is what the authors Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy talked about in the book called The Gap and the Gain. And I actually did an entire podcast on The Gap and the Gain. One of my favorite books. If you have not read it, highly recommend it. And what they talk about is so many times people live in the gap. And what that is the gap between this is where I want to be and this is where I'm at. And that distance is the gap. And the further the gap, the harder it is to keep going after the dream, to keep growing, to keep moving forward. Measuring our progress against the ideal future we haven't reached yet. That is the gap. But that is not where our peace and joy is found. That is not how we actually keep growing and pushing to be the person that can carry the dream. That is found in the gain. The gain is when we look at where we're at now and we look at how far we've come and we measure backwards, seeing what God has already done in our lives. Now, through this series, we have been using Joseph to talk about dreams. He's one of my favorite people to talk about dreams. Now, Joseph could have focused on everything he lost along the way. He lost his family. He lost his youth. He lost his freedom. But instead, he stayed in the gain of where I'm at to how far I've come, knowing that God gave him a dream and he would eventually get there. And what I love is Joseph eventually made it to the palace. He's in prison. The cupbearer, who I shared in one of our podcasts already, Joseph interpreted a dream for him. Cupbearer is like, of course I'm going to remember you when I get to the palace. He did not remember him. However, I love God's timing, because 2 years later, Pharaoh has a dream. And the cupbearer finally remembers, and he brings Joseph up to interpret this dream. And so Joseph is in the palace, and Joseph got put as second in command. And that fulfilled the dream that Joseph initially had of being put in leadership. But this is what I love. And you can find this in Genesis 41:52. And so Joseph has a wife. He has some children. He's in Egypt, right? He's running Egypt. And this is what he names the second son. It's Ephraim. Okay, we've heard of the 12, tribes of Israel. This is one of the 12 tribes of Israel. And he said, for he said, God has made me fruitful in the land of my affliction. Joseph didn't wait for everything to be perfect to celebrate. He named fruitfulness in the middle of what had hurt him the most. And I love that. He remembered how far God brought him. So gratitude doesn't mean you have to ignore the pain, because there's pain in everything we're going through. There's pain in growing ourselves. There's pain in trying to work a business. And really, it's not even about reframing the pain, but it's about thanking God of how far he's brought you, the seasons that he's carried you through. And the God who carried you through all of those painful seasons is the same God who is leading you in this one. And so celebrate the gain, my friends. Celebrate with gratitude. So before chasing the next goal or the next launch, you know what? Sit yourself down and for 10 minutes, write down every answer to prayer, clients you've won, personal breakthroughs. Do it through this past year. You could go back even further. This is something I love to do even at the end of the year, is looking back on everything. But here's the thing. I don't do this just at the end of the year. I actually do this every day. Every day I am writing gratitudes of what has happened the day before, the answered prayers, the things that are outside myself that God has done in my life. People have blessed me, good things that have happened, whatever it is. So if you don't pause to thank God for what he's done, you're going to miss how far he's already taken you. You're going to get stuck in the gap of where you want to be. And that is a really miserable place, my friend. And that is why we feel like something's missing. And how you relieve that? Go back and measure the gain. Go back and celebrate with gratitude all the good things that God is doing in you and through other people. Now, when you take time to celebrate how far God has brought you, what it also does is it opens your eyes for what he's doing next. Because a dream doesn't stop with what you can see. It keeps unfolding. That leads me to point number 2. The dream within a dream. The dweem within a dweem. Right? Princess Bride, my friends. Every layer takes you deeper into God's purpose. Every layer of God's dream takes you deeper into his purpose. Now, what this does is it points out that realizing your dream, living it right now, isn't the finish line. It's just one layer that God is still building in you. He's got other layers for you to go to. Now, I don't know if you've seen the movie Inception. I love that movie. I'm going to be honest, I had to watch it about 3 or 4 times before I really got a good grasp of what was going on, because it is so deep, but it's a good movie, my friend. And even if you just like action movies, it's a good action movie. But what it is Inception has this concept of a dream within a dream. And so it's basically like espionage, but they do it in people's dreams instead. And so they'll have these ways of going a layer deep into a dream. And then they go in another layer. And as it got deeper, the dream expanded and it got longer. And it's super fascinating. But that is what God is doing. The dream doesn't end when one chapter closes. It keeps unfolding. It keeps a new chapter is unfolding. Dream within a dream within a dream. Each layer reveals something deeper that God is building in you and through you. You know, when I started again as a life coach, that was one layer. And then it went even deeper, and God started using me to help people with writing coaching curriculum, and that turned into helping people with books and writing my own book. And, you know, my coaching turned into a different coaching, and it went deeper into identity and intimacy with God, and it went into our imagination. Like, all of that was different layers of the dream. Joseph's story, going back to Joseph, it didn't stop in the palace. That was just one layer. The dream he once saw in symbols and stars, you know what, it had now become something more real, something with lives attached to it. I want to take you to Genesis 45:7. God sent me, this is Joseph talking, before you to establish for you a remnant in the earth. Now, this is him talking to his family. Now he's got reconciled with his family because his family had to come and get some food. And here is Joseph, because they were sorry for what they did. And he says, God sent me before you to establish a remnant in the earth and keep you alive by a great deliverance. So the dream that God gave Joseph wasn't just, I'm going to make you a leader. Isn't that awesome? No, God used it to save this remnant of Israel on the earth. Because why? Who came through the lineage of Israel? Jesus. Jesus Christ, the great deliverer, came through that lineage. And so Joseph's dream wasn't just this one layer of, I'm going to make you leader. No, it was layer by layer, a dream within a dream within a dream, where eventually it was a dream that actually saved the lineage of Christ so that Christ could come and redeem the entire earth. That, my friend, is what happens when we stay open to where the dream leads. We don't know where it's all going to go. You know, we thought it was going to be one thing, building a business or writing a book or launching a ministry. But then God starts revealing these new layers. Suddenly the dream you thought was for you, it became something that as God is doing through you, just like Joseph. Each time you say yes, he takes you deeper. Each level of maturity that you grow through, you gain a new circle of influence. You gain a new revelation of who he is in you, Christ in you, the hope of glory. It's not just a new dream. It's really the same dream, just like growing up. It's getting older. It's maturing. Psychologists actually call this dream within a dream and our ability to adapt to that cognitive flexibility. So it's the ability to adapt and stay open when things start shifting and evolving, because that's what our dream is doing, right? It's evolving, it's shifting. And sometimes we're like, whoa, change. But what we need is cognitive flexibility. So Dr. Scott Barry Kaufman's research shows that flexible thinkers experience more creativity, purpose, and joy because they are not clinging to the outcome. What they're doing is they're actually exploring the next layer. And that is what we need to be doing, my friend. Exploring what is the next dream? What's the dream within the dream? What's the next layer? So maybe you've built a coaching business that helps women find clarity, and now Father's nudging you to train new coaches so that their clarity multiplies. Maybe you wrote a devotional that encourages others, and now there's doors opening for you to speak or do retreats, ways to take your message deeper. Maybe you've been faithful serving a small community, and God is giving you a vision for systems and structures that can actually carry your dream further than you can do it alone. All the automation that we have nowadays with AI and the systems we can create, that could expand your dream and make it go even deeper. Each layer isn't a detour, it is expansion. He's growing your capacity to carry a bigger version of the same calling. So your dream doesn't die when it changes. It deepens. Can you hear that? That is my dog dreaming. Seems very appropriate right now. He's doing that. It's adorable. I wish you could actually see it. He's this giant 116-pound golden doodle just dreaming over here. He's just, living the dream. So as God takes you deeper into those new layers, something really powerful starts to happen. The dream begins to overflow. It is no longer about just growth for us and being the person that can carry the dream. It's about what He's done in us to start blessing others, done in us to flow out of us. So point number 3 is multiply the mission. What God did in you now flows through you. This point is all about turning the lessons that you've lived into legacy, letting your story, your wisdom, your obedience help someone else rise up. That is what God did in me when I hit all that fear and I had to overcome that, and I had to dig in and how do I do this? Both at a faith level and at a physical level, because this was a physical thing that was happening to me with fear that was manifesting as fainting. And through that, the growth in me, now God uses it and it flows through me to help other people. Joseph didn't just keep his wisdom to himself, did he? He had a dream for himself, but he also interpreted other dreams for others. He used his influence to save lives, to provide for others, so that people were preserved, including the line of Christ. That is multiplication. Now, Genesis 47:12, Joseph provided for his father and his brothers and all his father's household with food according to their little ones. His whole family comes, and there is a truckload of them by now, because there's kids and grandkids and great-grandkids, and then they grew into a ton. They gave him this whole land called Goshen. But Joseph provided for the family, and he provided for the family, and that family became the lineage of Christ. The mark of maturity for us as dreamers, as people that are doing God's will, is when we take what we've learned and bless others with it. Legacy really begins when you take what God taught you in private and you start giving it away in public. And you don't do it for recognition, but what it does do in you is it's showing you that God wants to do the same thing that He's done in you for others. So some examples are, one, you could just share your journey. You could share your story. You could host a small workshop, mentor someone new in your field. You could create a devotional, a resource, even just simple posts that tell the truth about what God has taught you. Your obedience can be someone else's breakthrough. You know, when I tell people my story, I just did this recently at a networking event. I got the chance to sponsor that event as a business person. And what I did, rather than just pitch my thing, here's my Courageous Club, I actually told the story of my fainting. And it was about 99% of them, they had never heard that. They didn't know that story. And what it did is I had people coming up to me and they were like, Heather, I see you up here. You MC, you're doing the thing. You look so confident. They like, you are the last person on the earth that I thought could do that. That would have experienced that kind of fear because you look so confident. And so that was a testimony to what God had done in me. And now that is an open door to help others see that, you know what you're doing. You might look at it and go, yeah, it's growth, it's cool. But man, there's people that need to hear that. They need to hear what you've been through. They need to hear your stories because that's going to help them go, oh my gosh, if she can do that, I can do that too. Legacy isn't about what you left behind. It's who you're lifting up here. Because then the multiplication starts to happen. You lift someone up. Then that person lifts others up. Then those people lift others up. It's literally like network marketing the way it was meant to be. People helping people, helping people, helping people. That is legacy, my friend. That is multiplication. And you just start by sharing what God's doing in you. And then you're using that to work through you. Start living out of your overflow, where what God has done in you flows through you. When you do that, you realize something powerful. The journey doesn't end with your dream being fulfilled. It isn't the end destination. It keeps unfolding as you become the woman who can carry it forward. And when we do that, we come to that point in our lives that one day when this is all over and we're all done on this earth and we've done our assignment and we get to hear those words that I long for, well done, my good and faithful servant. That's what the dream's all about. All the people that we get to help along the way and be able to stand before our Father and go, thank you for helping me to do what you've called me to do, to help so many, to make a difference. So as we wrap up this Dreamer's Journey series, let's look back at how far we've come. Let's get in the game, shall we? You know, we have learned that the dream God placed in our hearts, it's not random. It is sacred. It is a God-given dream. You've discovered that resistance is useless. Sorry, that was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. What resistance means, it doesn't mean you missed it. It is literally how God uses resistance to help us grow. You've also seen how people, even the challenging ones, I know, God love them, they actually are part of the process that refines our character and it builds courage in us. It helps us grow and expand us. It keeps us going when we have community and people around us that don't give up. I was just talking to my mentor, Lethea Owens, about that. We're talking about what does audacious faith mean and what does the audacious faith community mean? And for me is my Courageous Club and it's community. We need community. We need people. And today what you've seen is that living your dream isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of a new chapter. It's never-ending story. Na 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 na. Sorry, if you're from the 80s, you're going to remember that one. That was a creepy dragon, though. I don't know about that. But the dream does keep growing, my friend. You keep deepening. The impact keeps multiplying because the whole journey was never about reaching the destination. It's about becoming the woman who can carry the dream and carry the dream well and keep walking with Father as he unfolds the next layer and the next layer. That dream within a dream, my friends. So, courageous action. This week, I want you to look back and then I want you to look forward. So first, look back. Write down 3 ways that God has been faithful over your dreamer's journey so far. Celebrate the gains, not the gaps. Number 2, I want you to look deeper. Ask Father, what's the next layer that you're inviting me into? And then listen. Listen to that. And then 3, look around. Who can you encourage? Who can you mentor? Who can you pour into what you have learned? Your obedience could be that next step that unlocks the next layer even. Because remember, our dream isn't the destination. It is preparation for greater impact. Now, if you are ready to grow with a faith-filled community that gets you, the Courageous Club, still open, my friend, until October 31st, 2025, just in case you're listening to this in another year. I only open the doors a few times a year, and this is one of those moments. I will not be opening the doors again until either February or March of next year, 2026. So this is your chance to get in. Inside, you're going to find teaching, coaching, but most importantly, you're going to find a sisterhood of women who will remind you you do not have to walk out your dreams alone. So you can join now at courageous.club. Go to courageous.club. You can either sign up, and if you need more info, check me out there. And if you're like, you know what, Heather, I checked it out, but I'm like, is this really for me? I don't know. You're not sure? Just email me at hello@heatherbunch.com and let's jump on a Zoom call and connect, and we can see if it's a good fit for you. If it's not, hey man, just keep listening to the podcast or watching the YouTube stuff and just hang with me here. We are starting a brand new episode next time. Can't wait to share it with you. We're going to keep building on that kind of courage and clarity that turns our big old God-sized dreams into everyday actions. So stay tuned because your courageous next step, it's just around the corner, my friend. You have got this, and Father has got you. So thank you a bunch for listening or for watching. Until next time, live fearlessly free.